Okay, not that anybody cares, but I'm back on TikTok. I deleted my TikTok recently because I convinced myself that I was a stalker, and I actually went to go talk to a crisis hotline, being like, "Hey, you know what? I really, really, really want to make sure that I'm not a stalker." And they said that I'm probably not, but I'm still a bit worried because they say that on the front line. Anyway, I think a reasonable person would probably be pretty worried about me. I think I'm full of a lot of red flags. I was doing research on that sort of thing. So, I mean, you know what? I don't really know what to do other than just be like, well, I guess I'll be honest and tell people about the things that I am concerned about. Because I admit that if there's anything that I try to hide about myself, it is definitely the stalker tendency. So, I think that control is a good thing and it's important. My mother, once told me that she thinks that the church is just a means to control people, and to a certain extent, I'm like, you know what, good. I like to do a lot of research on the Middle Ages, and a lot of people think that's this really dark, oppressive time. But then, and to an extent it is, but not quite in the way that people think it is. I remember I once read a ruling by a judge where he is saying, love between the upper and the lower classes can't happen. If you see a peasant woman, it's just lust, so you should just take her then and there. Again, I think, like when you read about kings and stuff, royal courts are just full of prostitutes. Kings have tons of mistresses. People just, I see a lot of people doing whatever the fuck they want without any kind of shame or accountability. Not a whole lot of oppression. Like, yeah, oppression is bad. I'm not even a Christian, but I kind of wish, compared to what actually did in fact happen, very, very often I kind of wish that, the church could have cracked down on people. Nobles were basically just German pagans. I think that like for me, being a stalker would be a source of shame. I definitely do not want to be a stalker, but I think that if I didn't have that shame, that would be either, well, I don't want to be a stalker because there are consequences to being a stalker, which, you know what, that's better than nothing, but that's bad. Or I would be a stalker. And again, I think that I think that as humans, our lives, the quality of our lives, are largely based on what other people do. I think, I often sit there wondering, what is it really that makes it so that this random person doesn't just like stab me? And to an extent, yes, they probably don't want to stab me, but that's partly because of socialization and law and just, various things that we have to control people. And if there wasn't any way that could be like, we could work towards making sure that I and myself have certain behaviors instead of others, I think that life would just feel kind of meaningless because there would be nothing that you could do to accomplish and secure your goals. Um, in the past, I am very jealous, admittedly, and I don't even like to connect it to insecurity. I don't even like to think about that. I just don't like it. And in the past, I probably would have just tried to, scare off other potential people. And I'm like, well, you know what? That's not good. That's counterproductive. You can't do that. So instead, when I'm worried about somebody, I just try to be really good friends with them. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm taking the high road. I think it's good to be nice to people. And really, you shouldn't, the sort of things that I want to keep people from doing are things that they just shouldn't be doing anyway. So I'm just kind of, just doing good work here, even if it's a little selfishly motivated. But it's still, that still sounds like a red flag, and I'm a little bit concerned. But anyway, I am just, just excessively respective of boundaries, potentially non-existent boundaries. I don't have any idea what I'm doing, so I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm freaking out here. Okay. I think I had a plan for what I was gonna say here. Some more stuff about, I like horror movies and stuff, but, I think it is also, I guess I've always liked them. I think that I'm pretty decent. I mean, I generally think that being average and natural is bad. People also talk about how, I did something, and people are like, well, that's average, that's natural. I don't think that's good. I think that it's good to be, important to be not average, better than average, at least try a little bit. Um, but anyway, yeah, so I just yes, shame is good